talked about in the last lesson how reducing balance loan works. You did exercises for that, 8A. Like I did last year and the year before, that could possibly be the last exercises you do from the book, right? Because you could practice all of the remaining stuff on the timeline just by doing your DI. That's your choice to make, okay? I'm hardcore. I like to do as much practice as possible. That's probably why I'm good at this stuff. But you're kids, so you probably want to minimize the amount of practice you want to do. So if you want to do it just DI only, this practice, that's up to you. Because the example DI that I gave you, that was an A+. She only did the practice by doing the DI. Okay? That's your choice to make. That's why it says exercise 8B or DI only. So a home loan is just a reducing balance loan that we take out for the purpose of buying a house. It's also known as a mortgage. What does mortgage mean? It's basically till death. They work exactly the same as any other reducing balance loan, but they are for large sums of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and are usually for 30 years. In Australia, home loans can be generally fixed for a short period of time, 5 years, but the vast majority of home loans are a variable rate. What does that mean? That means the interest rate can change at any time. That's probably what your parents have been whinging about recently if they have a mortgage. So I bought my house around 2019. What is that saying the interest rates were? 3.5. COVID hit. Prices went down, down, down. Then suddenly, what do you notice about the interest rates? They're freaking shot up, okay? So if your parents have a mortgage, they're trying to just survive. That's painful, and we're going to do the maths to show you how painful, okay? Home loans also typically require a deposit to be paid, which is about 20% of the value of the house. So what does that mean? This means you're only actually taking out a loan, which is 80% of the house price. That's known as the loan to value ratio. Why are you only taking a loan out of 80%? Because you already have to pay 20% of the house price up front. For our calculations, we are just borrowing a certain amount. So we're basically ignoring the idea of a deposit. You'll discuss it in your DI, the reality of that. But for your calculations, you're just going to go into TVM Solver and put PVs, 500 grand. So you're ignoring the idea of deposits, etc. So what the first note should be is in blue, things to keep in mind for home loans. By default, home loans will be paid back with monthly repayments. If you take out the most basic home loan with a bank, you're going to be paying them back every month, right? Number 2, banks will also charge interest monthly. So CY for home loan should always be 12, unless the question specified otherwise. I can just delete that. It never does. It's just going to be CY is 12 for home loans. And for the purposes of most of our calculation, we assume the rate is fixed, even though this is unrealistic. In Australia, most home loans are variable rate. It's very different to America, where most of the loans are fixed for the life of the loan, 30 years. It's more reliable. You can sort of budget to that. Here in Australia, we have to deal with that graph of the interest rate shooting up, okay? So I'll give you a couple of moments to get those 3 points down. All right, you need a nice little spot in your book and you need to fold down that corner. Literally the rest of this topic and your DI is about all the different strategies you can do to minimize the interest you pay on a loan. To help with that, we set up a default home loan that we keep coming back to. I need to show you how much a strategy saves by comparing it to the OG, okay? So we need an OG that I keep referring back to over and over again. So our OG default home loan in 2024, can you please write this on a new page of your book, fold down the corner of that page for easy access. Our default home loan for 2024 is going to be a 5% interest rate, a principal of 500 grand. We're paying it off for 30 years and paying it off monthly. So I suggest a little corner of your book, put a border around it, the default home loan for 2024, and we'll do our TVM solver here. If that's my loan situation, what's the I going to be? What's the interest rate? 5? PV. How much is the bank giving me straight up with this loan? Good. What sign is it going to be? Good. Why? Because the bank is giving you that money. So we're going to solve for PMT. We want to know the class's default home loan for 2024. We want to know how much it's going to pay every month for 30 years. How much do I want to owe the bank at the end of a home loan? 0. So 500 grand. Nothing. How many? If I'm paying monthly and it's compounding monthly, what's P1 and CY going to be? 12. So now we can work out what N's going to be. 12 times by 60 is going to be, that's 12 times by 30 is going to be 360. So over the life of this loan, you're going to make 360 payments of alpha solve every month to service this home loan. You're going to be paying the bank back $2,684.11 GDP. So $2,684.11 monthly repayments. Okay? Please establish that. We're going to constantly go back to this. We're not even done yet. We need to work out the interest paid. So that default home loan, how many payments am I going to make according to that TVM solver to pay it back? 360. 360 payments of $2,684.11 times 360. Take away PV, take FV. The PV was 500 grand. Take away FV, which was 0. So quit out of the calculator there. 2,684.11 times by 360. Take away. Notice, what am I paying the bank overall with my payments? Almost $1 million. $966,279.60 to pay off this loan. How much of that is interest? Take away 500,000. That's going to cost me $466,279.60 in interest over the life of the loan. Is that almost as much as the house price itself? That's pretty close to $500,000. Okay? I'll stop the video there.